Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is April 7th, 2021, and this is episode 265. The Cimmerian, Iron Shadows in the Moon. This is what we're looking at today. Iron Shadows in the Moon, of course, being the arc for this time around. This isn't a blaze. This is the first issue of this arc. It's part, and if you're familiar with Conan, he is the Cimmerian, and Robert E. Howard is the original artist on this. This is an actual adaptation of his short story, one of his short stories for Conan. Now, we did do a review of the Frost Giant's Daughter before, the 3-issue, which was a highly recommended, just beautiful art in it. It was almost like the interior art was just paintings, and it was gorgeous. It was very erotic, very brutal, very gory, and very carnal. This is a different Conan in this. We'll see a different look at him as he's more introspective, thinking more, and seems to be more aware of his surroundings than other, and more aware of just trying to survive. This cover depicts these undead attacking them. This actually doesn't happen in this issue. It's not to say it won't be in the future, but right now there was no undead in there. So let's get into it. All right. Okay, let's talk about who worked on it first. That's actually a nice composition, might add. Okay, we get a nice blurb here. You can see the Cimmerian, Iron Shadows in the Moon. So nice blurb. The writer and artist on this is different from the Frost Giant's Daughter. This is Virginie Augustin, and as you can see there, it's adapted from the work of Robert E. Howard. The letterer was Desi Cianti. And then we have a whole list of cover artists here. All right, and I believe Brian Level did this one, as it is a little bit different from the interiors we see here. Okay, we start off the story right off with a bang. Olivia has escaped her slave master, and she is taking this horse through the swamp area, the marshes, and unfortunately the horse loses his footing, probably breaks a leg. She has to go on foot. The slave master has caught up to her. He's actually like the Shah of the village there, and he wants her back, obviously. He's just a brutal, brutal man. Now, as he closes in to catch her, we see Conan emerge from the marshes. Turns out this Shah happens to be the same person that killed Conan's parents. So we get to see him try to exact revenge on this Shah. And Conan wastes no time getting into the battle, goes right after him. As you can tell, this nice attack here. Olivia looks on and just wonder what the heck's going on. Where'd this guy come from? And pretty quickly, Conan takes him down brutally, as Olivia can't bear to watch, as just get a big blood splotch there, and you just see he's just rubble at the end, just kind of brutal. Still not as brutal as the Frost Giant's Daughter, though. And then Conan just starts walking off, and Olivia says, "Wait, take me with you." And he's like, "Who are you?" And she explains her predicament, and he has actually stolen a boat, and says, "Okay, come then. We'll figure out how to escape here," because they both need to escape, basically. And Olivia tells her story, and it's a very sad story. Her parents actually gave Olivia, plus all these slaves and these other goods here, to the Shah, to pay tribute, basically, to him. And the Shah abused her in all kinds of ways. So when they were celebrating the win over the Kataki, which we'll talk about what Conan had to do with the Kataki, she slips away, stole the horse, and took off. Now we get Conan's story of what happened. He was raiding and pillaging along the border, and they probably were like a couple hundred. And unfortunately, his group he was with, I guess, hired by the Kotaki to help out. And then the Shah's troops, 15,000 strong, just came in and slaughtered them so quickly. Conan had nothing to do, could do nothing but just run and hide out in the swamps where he lived on live rats until he was able to escape a day later. So they both are kind of in sad shape here. Conan seems to know of a remote island, and that's where they're heading to right now. And the island looks very beautiful, so he believes it to be uninhabited, but uninhabited, I guess it would be. But they'll find some strange things in a little bit as we go on. So first off, Olivia sees these beautiful parrots. She goes up to them, and all of a sudden they just all scatter for some reason. And so they kind of sense that something might be up at the island, but they're not sure. Conan has also gotten very hungry, so he says, well, before I hunger, I'm going to go into the ocean and wash off the mud and blood that has been caked on me over the last couple days. So he goes in, he comes out clean, his hair's clean, his muscles are rippling because they're not covered by all the other stuff, and he takes Olivia by the hand into the jungle as they go search for food. They do find some fruit, and Conan figures that'll sustain them for now, but he really needs more food than that because he'll be hungry again soon. As they continue on their journey for more food, suddenly this rock comes out of nowhere and hits this boulder. And Conan looks and charges into the clearing from where it came from, but there's nobody there. And then he goes back and looks at the rock. He picks it up, realizes it's very heavy, and he tries to throw it himself. It only goes like 6 to 10 feet, not very far. And he said, okay, whoever threw this is not a human. It's got to, and it would be like needed a cannon pole. That's why he starts thinking more and trying to figure out what's going on here. And so he's not quite sure what's going on, but he follows kind of the direction he goes, the rock came from, and they come across these ruins that he did not realize was there. And so they go into them and explore them, and it's very mysterious. It gets kind of creepy in here, actually. So they've got this obelisk in here. They've got these strange statues done in black, and they look lifelike. They look like they're alive. But Conan assures Olivia there's nothing to be scared of. These are just statues. He actually taps on one of them, but he feels this place is got evil in it, and so they make their way out of the temple, and that's where we're left till something starts up. So not really a cliffhanger, other than they're probably being pursued by the Shah's people since he killed them. But I don't know if they would know which direction they went, so they might be okay for now. But obviously, this is something they didn't expect to find. So the mystery begins, actually, and so I'll be back for issue 2 for sure. I do like the way Ablaze is doing these Robert E. Howard stories, and just like the Frost Giant's Daughter, we actually get the actual text for the original short story this comic is based on, and it's a good, like 6 pages, I guess, and then it'll be continued in the next issue as well. So you get the in-depth. You get this is some beautiful writing in here. I went through it. It was really descriptive and really you get the pictures in your mind, and the writer did a really good job of adapting it too. So I'm liking this. It'll get the Indie Comics Jones good excavating seal of approval for sure. Okay, then we get a preview for Gung Ho, and it's the way they describe it is it's combining Archie-style teenage shenanigans and rivalries with a Walking Dead narrative. Okay, the sample they give here is about 5 pages long, and it really doesn't give you a feel for much anything that I can tell. They're mostly standing around and looking at weapons. talking about weapons and learning about them, I guess. And that's it. So you don't really get a backstory of what's going on, or even like a little action scene. That's it. Here's the cover gallery for this issue of Iron Shadows in the Moon. And we had cover A, of course. And this was Brian Lavelle with some help from Jay Lyston and Ivan Palacio. I hope I said that right. And here's the actual artist version, his variant right there. So, issue 2, here's what it looks like. That's the regular cover, looking really strong. Conan and Olivia escape to a remote island, attempting to flee their oppressors. But as they take refuge inside an ancient temple, avoiding the dangers that lurk in the nearby jungle, they may have awakened an ancient evil that humankind has yet to comprehend. Will they find a way to escape before they are overcome by threats inside and out? So, sounding good. I'm in. And here's what we get here. There is nothing to fear as they are statues. Yes, but they seem so lifelike and evil. So, yes. Let's get in here. We're giving it the good excavating seal of approval. Thanks for stopping by and listening to this review. As always, please like, please subscribe, please listen. I've done 6 reviews for this week's comics. I've got 8 more to go, so please stop on by. Come on back to the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones from the Temple of Tomes, bidding you adieu.